but the birds in the woodland behind are singing fit to burst, and I can hear the first sounds as my friend, Sam, the old goat farmer, begins to move about in the yard below. It's not the early start that bothers me, only that it's Monday. Another week to get through. I don't dislike my work as assistant to Bram Nash, Romsey's coroner. It's an interesting job. My employer calls it standing for the dead, but for me, it's more like detective work, picking up clues as to why someone died. The pain in the chest they ignored, the toadstool they mistook for a field mushroom, the lorry driver doing an extra shift, falling asleep at the wheel, a depressed farmer with a loaded shotgun. We've had all of them, and twice in the 3 years I've worked with him, there's been a murder. A real investigation, tracking down a killer and seeing some kind of justice done. It's Bram at the heart of my troubles, my feelings for him. The complicated history between us that stretches back to our childhood, when he was Captain Abe, leader of the gang, and I was a bastard girl child nobody wanted. Despite the years we were apart, the facial injury from the Great War that had turned him inward, afraid to make relationships, and the ridiculous marriage I'd made and regretted, there was no escape for me once I'd come back to Romsey. It wasn't love, I'd tried to tell myself, just animal attraction. But whatever it was, I couldn't turn my back on it. 18 months ago, during our second murder investigation, it seemed we had come to a place where we could admit deeper feelings for each other at last. And then, my estranged husband had turned up out of the blue. Richard Lester, not dead, as I'd come to believe, but escaped from the POW camp he'd been in since Dunkirk. Since then, it's been stubbornness and a kind of pleasure in pain that keeps me working at Nash, Simmons and Bing, that won't let me be a minute late arriving or a second early leaving. I do the job as thoroughly as I can, whatever I feel. It's not as if there's anything I'd rather be doing, anywhere I'd rather be. Only that I wish things could be different. And this morning, something is definitely very different. From the start, it's the quiet I notice. On Friday, when I'd come this way, there'd been a bustle, a sense of something about to happen. Now there's a silence that's almost eerie. All the way from Hursley to Romsey, the only sound is the wind in the trees and the putter of my psych auto's little engine. The military vehicles that have been parked along the roads for weeks, filling every lay-by and lane, have gone. All that's left are the muddy scars of innumerable tracks on the grass verges, the occasional broken branch, where some large vehicle has emerged from its hideaway. There's not a sign of the soldiers who've been billeted in the woods, not a single tent or campfire left. This time last week, my ride to work had been punctuated by good-natured catcalls from the troops in their encampments. But today, there's no one to see me pass. The only comment comes from a gaggle of rooks, pecking at something unspeakable on the road. A spatter of rain blows in my face. This year, June's been a disappointment as far as the weather goes. It should be warm, but these first few days have been as cold as March. I'd hoped to help Sam cut the meadow for hay this weekend, but it's rained every day, so we couldn't get it done. There'd been no point in mowing the grass in the wet. I worry about Sam trying to manage alone in the week. It's a lot of work for one man, cutting and turning the grass, forking it up into stooks. He's no spring chicken, and the ankle he broke when I first made his acquaintance 18 months ago still gives him trouble. I know his neighbours will lend a hand if they can, but they're busy themselves. If the weather clears up, I'll have to try and go back to the farm one evening, see what I can do. I owe Sam so much. He says it's the other way round.